Let's start with today's first session, Business Model by Mr. Chandrabhan Singh, Chief Operating Officer at Sardar Patel Technology Business Incubator. He co-founded 4 startup ideas in 7 years. He has a 3 years experience as co-founder at the Big Bang Trip Delhi, assistant manager at Town School Education Initiative Delhi. He is also an assistant manager for business development and operation and successfully implemented the Swarna Jayanti Sarhari Rozgar Yojana in 6 districts of Jharkhand. I welcome you, sir. I request sir to present his presentation and begin with the session.
Yeah, thank you, Raj,
Welcome, sir.
um, and all the other team members of IEEE, and also good morning to all the listeners and viewers of this pitch today. I hope you all had a good coffee in the morning. Yeah, all ready for a long day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Perfect. Um, so let me start. I'll start my presentation in 5 minutes. Let give me a brief intro of what we will be talking today. So I'm pretty sure in the last 3 to 4 days of this bootcamp, all of you, faculty, students, entrepreneurs, everyone out here must have heard a lot about entrepreneurship from Rahul Chari, who's a CEO of PhonePe. And then you must have heard yesterday, I think Mr. Vikrant Patnis was here, he was talking about business model. And I also guess Mr. Dinesh Israni was also there, on a session maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday. So I'm very much sure all of you have been hearing about entrepreneurship a lot. I think if I talk more about what is entrepreneurship and how to start and everything, it might be redundant right now, and you might feel that we are listening to the same thing. So I won't go deeper into what is entrepreneurship and how to start, what to become, all those kind of questions. I'll give you a small brief about probably Indian entrepreneurship ecosystem, Indian startup ecosystem, and in general how entrepreneurship as a word came into the prominence today. I still remember in if you are a 90s kid and if you have seen 90s movies or 80s movie, I would say let's start from the 80s or 70s movie, how Indian education and how our job environment in India has moved. So if you see the Bollywood movies, you will realize it's very much connected to the Indian job ecosystem. So think about 1970s movies. What comes into the mind? Sholay comes into the mind. Janjeer comes into the mind. Dawn comes into the mind. And we had a name called Angry Young Man for Amitabh Bachchan, right? And why this name was because India was frustrated as a country. There were no jobs in India, so the young people, they're angry, they want to make the changes, they want to take different ways to do some jobs. And this reflected in our movies also. Most of the movies you will see, they were all around, the actors or the, as you say, heroes. They were thief or they were small time crooks. There were no jobs. That's how the Indian job ecosystem was, or Indian education ecosystem was. Then let's come into the 80s. 80s changed. If you see the 80s, I think in Indian Bollywood system, when they say 80s is the worst era, there was not a single movie which is kind of, you will remember iconic movie. There will be some movies here and there, but they doesn't amplify the Indian Bollywood as such. There's no Sholay from 80s, or there's no Mughal Azam from 60s in the 80s. Why? Because it again married with Indian politics, Indian ecosystem, and you will see that a lot of movies came around poverty. So now it's not about just being a crook. It's all about just poverty. You don't get rich now. You are just poor, and you are amplifying the voice of poor. You are shouting and telling about. So biggest example I would say is Mithun Chakravarti. See his movies from 80s. In all his movies in 80s, he is a poor guy fighting the rich people. That's it. Simple movie. So in a single line, if you want to define a movie, it's like, okay, we'll cast an actor who will be hero, he'll be poor, he'll be marginalized, he'll fight against rich people who are taking all the resources in India. That was 80s in India. Then came 90s. When 90s came, check the movies, how they dramatically they changed. In 90s, most of the movies were romantic movies. We had DDLJ, we had Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, we had Hum Aapke Hain Kaun, and all these heroes, Shah Rukh, Salman, Amir, Ajay Devgan, Akshay Kumar, they all started doing romantic movies, you know, and amplifying love, amplifying, and they started traveling abroad. Switzerland became an iconic place for all the movies to be shot. Europe became an iconic place, and you will see that people are now moving towards job, exploring the world, becoming more and more aware of the global system. So now we are becoming a part of the global system slowly. So movies are shot where one family member lives in Europe, somewhere in England, or maybe in US, and somewhere in India. Then they meet, they travel, and in the job scenario, you'll start seeing that most of the actors are in colleges. They are not angry, they are not jobless, they are not poor. They are in colleges. Education started rolling in now in India. It became prominence, and while it became prominence, two jobs or two profiles became very, very successful: engineer and doctor. So when we were small, we were kids, we were only used to hear from our parents, "Hey, we live in poverty, but we want you to become an engineer or doctor. We want you to become engineer and doctor." So that was a mentality of Indian ecosystem, and everyone started following that job. If you are if you are good in mathematics, become an engineer. If you are not good in mathematics, you're good in like science, become a doctor. Sorry for arts and commerce students, there was nothing happening as such, on a pan India level at that time. So that was 90s. It also can combine with the political connection that 90s started with LPG, which is liberalization and privatization and globalization. So now that also affected the way we see the world. Then came early 2000, you know. So engineers and IITs were prominent, but at the same time, there was something coming up now, MBAs, managers. Oh, the new jobs are coming. International jobs are opening up for Indians, and the big MNCs are opening in India. They just don't need engineers anymore, because they need people to run these companies. So what we need now MBAs in India. So early 2000 became a period of MBAs. See the movies also. You'll start seeing now Indian actors are successful business people in the movies. Dil Chahta Hai. No, I don't know what they do, but they are rich. You know, think of all these movies from early 2000. Akshay Kumar, Shah Rukh Khan, and Salman Khan. Now they're not actors in the or working, or like studying the students. Although, yeah, even they are not in the same age bracket, but they are not successful business people. They have businesses. They are squandering. They're traveling here and there. So this again connected with how the Indian ecosystem was working. So we became. So what became the new thing? MBAs, okay, do MBA, do this, that, this, take up a job in marketing, finance, and everything. So this was a 2000 era. Now let's cut back to the 2010s and why the topic of entrepreneurship is and how I will connect all these topics together in this era. Today, you ask anyone as a student what they want to become. I'm very much sure that out of 10, there will be only 2 to 3 people who will say they want to be an entrepreneur today, right? They don't say they want to be an engineer. No one says today they want to be an engineer. They only say their parents force them to be an engineer. So that's gone. So 90s of engineering is gone now. No one says they now slowly MBA is also losing that grip which they had in early 2000. Because today all the jobs are skill based. Google says even if you don't have a degree, we'll hire you if you have a right skill. They have gone away with their mandatory graduation policy that you have to be a graduate to be part of Google. Even if you're not a graduate, you can be a part of Google, because if you have some certain skills, and those certain skills actually match with the skills of an entrepreneur. What are these skills? We'll get back in the next slide. So this last decade, 10 years has been all about entrepreneurship. See how entrepreneurship has boomed around you. Think of you as 10 years back and see how many entrepreneurs you knew or what you knew about entrepreneurship, and see today, and you will see the big difference. So this is a trend which is happening in the global era everywhere. India joined in bit late. I would say entrepreneurship as a global phenomena started in late 90s, early 20s, when dot-com boom happened in USA. So dot-com happened, everything became on the website, everything became digital, so people could grow faster when dot-com boom came in America, which happened in 99, 98, and 2000. In India, we didn't have internet at that time, so that didn't happen for us till then. It happened for us in 2010, 11, 12, when actual boom for entrepreneurship in India came. So this has changed how we look today as our opportunities to grow, how we look today as our career, and at the same time, what skills do we need? So again, I would say for the skill set, I'm pretty sure Dinesh Israni, Vikrant Potnis, and Rahul Chari, they might have stressed a lot on these topics. I will give a brief, a small, 30 seconds view of myself and how an entrepreneurship as a skill set helps you. So probably when people say, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur, it does not mean that you should start a startup. Today, if you are an entrepreneur, you could be an entrepreneur even in PepsiCo or in Coca-Cola or in HCL or in HUL. Why? Because all these organizations, they have realized that more than MBA, they need an entrepreneur in the company working, because an MBA would be someone who will manage your organization. They need someone who can lead the organization at the same time. It's an evolving era, evolving time, digitalization. Small companies are coming and they're wiping the whole market within few years. So these big giant companies, they also need to evolve in the same way to survive. So they have also accepted people. Hey, we don't need managers or engineers today. We need people who can take decisions, who have quick ability to think, who are rational in thinking, who know how to use the resources. And what are all these? In the end, these are all skill set you need to become an entrepreneur. As simple as that. So think of your grandfather or father who was in 80s or 70s. What kind of skill set they had or they required to sustain, and see today, and you will see the big difference. And that's the same you will see in Bollywood in a way. I'm not saying it's 100% true, but in the end, Bollywood reflects the society. So um, that's how it works. And I thought we'll use this example because we all connect to movies so well. If I would started with some entrepreneurship jargons, you might have feel bored here. So I thought, okay, let's try to connect with Bollywood, which we all understand, or movie industry, which we all understand. Now I'll start the presentation, and before I start this, one more myth I want to clear it out. People say entrepreneurship started in in 90s or 2000 because of dot-com boom, which is largely true in the sense that it became a global phenomena. It became a household name. Today, people know what is entrepreneurship, the word as such. But it does not mean that the skill sets were not present there, or people were not having these skills before. When I was doing my MBA, or rather, I would say I was entering into the entrepreneurship world. Someone asked me, that who would define one of the oldest or the earliest entrepreneur in the globe. And one of my colleague answered, Sir Henry Ford. The Henry Ford, the founder of Ford company. And it actually is true. He is regarded now as one of the earliest entrepreneur in the global system, because he solved a problem in car manufacturing world. He started with assembly line, right? Today assembly line is so common in every manufacturing industry. There's an assembly line which helps you in mass production, right? No one knew this before Henry Ford. He started this in car industry, and it's now global phenomena in all manufacturing industry. Think of it. Industrial revolution happened in 17th century in England, but till 20th century, there was no mass production of assembly lines, in the globe. He did it. So I could say he's a pioneer of assembly line. He's an entrepreneur. He solved a problem. And because of him, because of this system, cars became so common in the globe. They started coming, manufacturing happened so fast that everyone could start affording a car. Prices went down, and the production also increased. Having said that, let's start our day with the topic of business plan. Now, again, a business plan is not for entrepreneurs. It is for person who is also into the business. They might be an MBA, they might be working in HCL, HUL, or a global MNCs or a startups today. What you need to do in a business plan, that's what we will discuss today. There's a small section of business plan which was already discussed yesterday by, I think, Mr. Vikrant Potnes. Let me, team, let me know once the presentation is visible. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. Is
Yes,
it
sir. The
visible
screen is
now?
visible, sir. Yes, sir.
It is.
Perfect. Hmm. Okay. So we'll start with the topic today, business plan. It all comes. Yeah. Hi. Someone was saying something, right?
No, sir. You could continue.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So we have discussed how Indian job, Indian market, Indian ecosystem developed in the last 40 years. We also did a brief about entrepreneurship, how it has become a very common global phenomena in the last decade. But to start with this, we always have to start at some place, right? And when we start at some place, people think where to start. I have a good idea how to start about it, what to do first. A lot of people say, okay, just do the research and probably understand your market, do this and that. So when we combine all of these questions together, we come up with a single word which defines what we are doing, which is business plan, which is very simple word. Divide the word and you will know what does the business plan is. Business, your idea, plan, how do you want to foresee it? How do you want to go with it? That's it. Very simple. Business plan. So while business plan is very easy as to understand, a lot of people confuse about what business plan and pitch deck. I will clear it out with the before we start. A pitch deck is something which is for investors or which is an outward looking document where you want people to understand your work, what you are doing through that document and help you with probably mentoring, guiding, funding, whatever. Business plan is more inward and it's a document which you start when you start a startup or a business or whatever. It's not a it does not show your growth. It shows how are you starting and what are you starting. It's mostly inward because it's mostly done to get a feedback, understanding, and a clarity on what you are doing. So we'll start the business plan. What is a business plan in the end? So um, business plan is a combination of a system or a process which starts with market research. Then you have a business model. Then you have marketing planning, your long-term goals, your team building, your strategy, your trend analysis, your other personal resources. All these combined together, when you put it in a document about your startup, it becomes a business plan. B plan competition. I think a lot of you must have joined or competed in different kind of B plans. So all these combined together makes a B plan. We'll go one by one on all these topics, and then we will, in the end, we'll discuss how to present or how to write a B plan. Yes. So market research. As I said, when someone's want to start a business or an idea or want to become an entrepreneur, a lot of questions comes into the mind, a lot of answers also come. So one of the answers is start with the research. Now, research is very abused word in India. You know, like I say, a very abused word because we all believe we are the best in researching. We what we do, we go to the Google, we do XYZ research, we have some data, we copy paste them, and we say we have done the research. Let's not talk about that as a research. Let's talk about primary and secondary research, understand how the research is done, what is the purpose of the research. So when we come with an idea, let's say someone wants, let's take an idea. Uh, so one of my favorite startup today is Zostel. I am pretty sure a lot of you are very aware of Zostel right now, which is one of the India's premium hostel facility in India, right? And hostel, and probably they are also moving to new kind of properties. So Zostel established in 2012, and it came out of a business plan. So the team of Zostel, I think it was Dharamveer and some other, and the two or three of his colleagues, they were all IIMs and IIT guys. They competed for a business plan in IIT Delhi, IIT Mumbai, not Delhi, and they won a prize of like certain amount of lakhs, which started Zostel. So they were just presenting the idea that this is what we want to do as a business plan. But the people that the jury liked the idea so much that they gave them money to start a business, and today it became one of the leading startup. Now they are not a startup; it's been 10 years they're fully established. But we can say at that time it was a startup in the hospitality industry. If you see the business, if the pitch, I'm not sure if it's available right now, but that time we were in the same ecosystem, so we could have a glance of what they are doing. They did a very good research about Indian hospitality industry. Very beautiful research. They explained how Indian hospitality industry is right now. What are the hotels in India? What is the lodge? And how the Indian population is growing. They're traveling. How international tourists and travelers are coming to India. How hostel is a big concept in Europe and in America, and why foreign tourists they love being in a hostel. They divided demography age wise and population wise, and they came up with a very simple target audience, that what audience they are targeting for their hostel, and it worked, it clicked. I think there are more than 16 hostels in India right now. They have also started in Nepal and somewhere in Southeast Asia also they started. So a simple research in 2012, which was put into a business plan, led them to create a startup which became such a big success that today they are the pioneers of the industry. They also started, I think, Zo Rooms, which competed with Oyo Rooms, and then Oyo Room bought them later on. By the way, they still have some legal issues going on between those two terms. But the point is, they revolutionized the whole hospitality industry. Today, a lot of people, a lot of youth who love to travel and stay in hostel. I stay in hostels most of the time when I travel, because I find that that kind of hospitality or that kind of stay much more pleasing than a five-star hotel, which cost you a lot of money also. And in terms of facilities, I don't need those facilities. I don't need a five pillow on my and two blanket on my bed. I need a simple pillow and blanket on my bed. But I would want five travelers who can talk to me, when I'm traveling or are in this new space. So this is what they caught, and this is what they became. How? Why? Because they did a good market research. They understood their market, they understood the client, they understood the pricing parity, the pricing point, they understood the trend in the future, and they went ahead with the idea. This is what a market research does to you. It does half of your job. Now, how can you do a market research? You can do a market research in two ways: a primary research and a secondary research. Now, we won't go more details into these, because this is a very big topic in a business school. So you can have a own classroom and understand what is primary, secondary, and a lot of tools which you use to do these. But for an entrepreneur, they should have a basic understanding of what kind of research they want to do, and if you are in the industry, which kind of research they should do. Primary research is something which you do by yourself or your team does by yourself. It could be quantitative and qualitative, which will understand. And a secondary research is something which is already in the market. What you do is you analyze those research and take input from those research, the key points which you need for yourself, and do your analysis based on those research. A simple primary research could be you doing a survey. A survey is the biggest research thought which comes to anyone's mind. I talk to my startups at SPTVI and say, hey, we need to do a research. They said, hey, we'll do a survey. Most common, and as I said, research is more abused in India. I think it's a survey which is mostly abused. All MBA students, if you are, some of you are in MBA or learning MBA, I'm pretty sure you will agree with me that in every subject or in every second subject we are doing some research, and always using a primary research, and in primary survey as the mode of research. So this is it, but yeah, it's helpful also, but it's overly abused. So we'll have a different way. Like interviews is another way of doing research. One-to-one discussions with the clients could be another way of doing the research. So these are all primary research when your team collects data. There's no data available. You create a set of data you want to collect, and then you collect the data. The data could be in a qualitative way and quantitative. Quantitative is all numerical. So let's say your survey, how, like very simple survey which comes every day in the news and we always read it. how likely are you to rate Narendra Modi as PM of India? One, very likely. Five, not likely. It's a quantitative research because there are numbers involved, and you can always quantify the result. Okay, Narendra Modi is famous between 76% of Indian population, not famous among the 24% of the population. Or Mr. Rahul Gandhi is the second most famous prime minister candidate in India, for liked by 20% of Indian population. So these are all quantitative, the numbers. Then comes qualitative, where you don't do a research on numbers, but on the quality, on the adjective. Simple example would be, you are meeting 10 people to understand let's say hostel. So what they did, they went to 10 big hospitality industry tycoons and discussed with them what is the future trend of the industry of in hospitality. So everyone gave them a qualitative answer. They say we are likely to see growth because of X factor, B, A factor, or C factor. There's no number involved. Everyone had their own reviews, and these views were collected, and then a qualitative research was formed that likely in 10 years this will be the trend in the hospitality industry. Next is secondary research. Secondary research happens when you don't collect the data by yourself, or you don't produce your data. Rather than that, you use the data which is already there in the market. Very simple example. When we use census of India as a data, that's a secondary research. Let's say today I ask one of you, find out how many let's say how many vaccines have been given to COVID, COVID vaccines have been given to Indian population. What you will do is, you won't do research today, you won't do survey and find out in my area, out of 8,000, 4,000 people have been given the vaccines, so 50% have been given. You will simply go onto the COVID website, check the data, day by day, every day, how many vaccines have been given. You come up to me and say, hello Chandrabhan, these many vaccines are being given every day. So we are assuming like 80, 30 crore people have been vaccinated by now. And we're assuming in next 10 days, this many population will be vaccinated. And by end of the year, these many population will be vaccinated. So you didn't do research here, primary. You did a secondary research. You got data from the market and you analyze. So when you do this primary and secondary research, what you do later on is you analyze the data. On the analysis, you get some prediction for the future, or the trend analysis is how the trend will go. You will find the gaps in the market, and from all these, you will understand where your startup or your business will fit in. And that's where you hit, okay, this is what I want to do. I have understand the market and I can find the gap. That's it. That's what a research is helps you understand that are you, everyone thinks in everyone. I'm not saying in India, across the globe, every startup founder thinks his or her idea is the best. Why? Because it's my idea, it's my brain, I'm the most intelligent person in my brain. How can I be wrong? I'm always right. This is the best idea. If it fails, it's not because of me, it's because of A, B, C, D factor it failed. It's true, it failed because of A, B, C factor, but it failed because you didn't do the research properly. You always believe your idea is the best, you didn't find the gap in the market, you didn't analyze, predict, and saw the trend in the industry. That's why it failed. It did not fail because of ABC factor. It also failed because of you, because you did not analyze these. And I am one of the victim of this thought process. When I started one of my ideas, I always believed this is the best we have done. Why? Because we got us instant validation from the market, but we didn't do a research. So we thought as validation is a pan India or pan market validation, and we continue to work on that. And then we hit a bump when we realized that, oh, this doesn't work like this way. We didn't do the research. This market doesn't want this product. And we realized that our validation was limited only to a one market. Probably we got lucky that in the first try we got the validation from that market, and we assumed it to be a success in every other market. So research helps you reduce your failure rate. Um, Next, once you have a research, what you start doing is you start thinking of business model canvas. I won't go deeper into this because I believe yesterday, Vikrant did this in detail. So just a business model canvas is a very simple exercise which helps you create your business plan. It's a part of a business plan which makes you understand what are you doing, your key partners, activity, resources, value proposition, market. You're able to point out everything in your idea, how you want to make money, how you want to spend money, why you want to make money, on what you want to make money, what are the channels to make money. Everything is defined. It does not say this you will be doing, but it says how you will be doing. So if you are able to prepare a business canvas model and you are able to put it into a business plan, it really helps understand anyone who is reading your business plan what you are trying to do. Very important exercise. I would, if anyone of you wants to start something in future, always remember it's a very easy tool for to understand what you are planning to do. It's a very easy language tool to understand for other people who might not get an overview of your business easily. But if they can read this, it's in simple words, they might understand it easily. Next, marketing planning. So when we discuss about, so when we discuss business model canvas, it gave you an insight of what you want to do. Market research gave you an insight. Hey, I want to enter into this industry, and this is a gap I have found. In that gap, you create a business model where you define who will be your partners, what will be your activities, resources you want to use, what you want to do. Everything basically is defined there. Now, when it's defined what you want to do, you want to put it in front of your uh, customers, consumers in the business also, right? So there, what you need to do is you have to define your marketing planning, that how you want to take this business into the market. A big problem with a lot of startups is that they love building their product, they love building their startup, but they don't realize when to go into the market now. They always, I talk to a lot of startup SP team here, and a lot of startup keeps on saying, sir, we are improving this, we are improving this, we are improving this. They never say now we are entering into the market. 10 startups, I'm expecting 5 will enter in their own area or whatever by the end of the year. In the end, I realize out of those 5, only 2 have entered. 3 are still doing some kind of planning, some kind of development, some kind of an improvement. Till you don't enter the market, you won't know. So always have an, that's why a lot of startups, you will see a lot of website, alpha version, because that's the way they want to enter the market and realize how they're doing it before they are fully fledged. So marketing planning, again, I won't go deeper, because if I go into deeper, a lot of MBA students might feel there's an MBA class happening here. Uh, it's important to understand how you want to spend money on your marketing plan, or you want to spend money or not. Before 2010 or 8, mostly the marketing planning was all offline, because internet penetration was very low in India. And now I'm talking about Indian phenomena right now, not the global. In global, we can say offline was a majority of marketing before early 2000 or in late 90s. Online came pretty late, and social media came very much in 2006-7 when Facebook started, and it became a marketing platform by 2009 or 10. So before that, it was all offline. Offline mostly it was ATL, BTL. Not going much deeper. ATL is above the line, where you want to market yourself pan India or pan market. Let's avoid using India, because you can be a business phenomena in the global. So ATL was when you want to spread your marketing idea to the wider population. BTL was below the line, when you were focusing on a specific market and doing a marketing. Very simple examples of ATL marketing are TV ads. Because TV is across. Let's say, there are TRP on the channel. So by the TRP, you know how much the channel is being watched. So based on that, you do a marketing, saying that, okay, Cricket World Cup is watched most by Indian people. So let's do a thumbs up Pepsi ad on Cricket World Cup, because that will reach out to the wider audience. BTL is more focused. Another way of ATL could be newspaper, when you have a full front page newspaper ad on Times of India or Hindustan Times, or an Hindi local in your area. BTL is when you are focused on a market or group. So let's say sports magazine. So you put an ad on sports magazine because you only want to focus on the niche people who read those kind of magazines, or let's say a magazine for fashion, a fashion magazine. So only let's say a shoe or manufacturing or a clothing line will be putting your ads on those magazines because they want to focus on a specific market. So these are ATL, BTL offline marketing channels. Billboards are again billboards or advertising on radio, on TV, on news, on or trains like metro or on buses. This is offline. Online is what all of us mostly have grown into because we are so used to social media, Google content, influencer marketing like Instagram pay, influencers saying, hey, I use this product, do you want to use it? Check the comment below for the discounts offers which you use my link, whatever, these kind of way people do marketing. And then a lot of digital marketing tools are available today online which you can use to optimize your website, optimize your AdWords, everything. So why we are discussing here in brief, not going into deeper, because you need to very specifically know what kind of audience you have and where this audience spend most of the time. So where I should market myself. My startup is likely to succeed more if I put my money or my effort in the right marketing channel. Think of a very simple example. I'll give you this hostel again. They were a hostel, in India. Their budget was hardly in lakhs when they started, and a TV ad cost are in crores. Could they have done ATL marketing? They couldn't have. Let's say they did an ATL marketing. They took money from the bank. They took a loan of like 2 crore rupee and did a marketing on Star Sports. Will it be helpful? Because Star Sports is watched by everyone from 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, 20s, even teens, kids watch Star Sports. For them, hostel as a hostel is not a market. A 10-year-old kid won't go to a hostel, alone. Or a 40-year-old couple might not go to a hostel. Or a 60, 50-year-old retired couple won't even try to go towards hostel because they need more luxury, they need more safety, they need more facilities. So a marketing idea spent 2 crore failed miserably because they did not understand the marketing planning. The startup did not see where the target audience will be and how they should target the audience. So this is understanding. You should know what you want to do and you should put this into your market business plan. Um, I'll Although we are all in digital age, we all have seen TV commercials a lot. And I love a few of Indian companies with very good ads. So I have just put one ad in between, to give us a small break. So have you seen this ad? Just go through this ad and we'll see how impactful this ad is. Somehow I can't click. 1 second. So this ad actually is one of the best ATL ad in India, and we all love Favicol because the way they do their ads, like universal, loved by everyone, understood by everyone, and the best part is they're so universal. Um, Let me, for a moment, I will pause the screen and I will put it on the YouTube. So just bear it with me. So is the ad visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So just see the ad and let's take a 1 minute break. Okay, so are we on the presentation again?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so now whoever did this ad, they understood the market so well. It's quirky, it's witty, that's one thing. But till the last second, when we saw I was kid back then when this ad came, and I still remember that when this ad came, I had no idea what's happening, and for the first 40 seconds, and we were like intrigued, yeah, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening, and in the end, it came Favicol, and we just understood, okay, this ad is about Favicol, and we got the whole idea why there are so many people on the bus because it's an adhesive. Now this ad became a big rage at that time. It was like started on I think a TV commercial came because of on some cricket match if I remember, and then it spread everywhere. Why this spread everywhere? It's a very classic ATL example, of marketing. It's universal. You can be sitting in Rajasthan, you can sitting in Punjab, Kashmir, Tamil Nadu, or Kerala, Canada. Oh, sorry, or globally also Karnataka, anywhere in the globe, and you will understand this ad if you know Favicon. You don't need to do two different ad in different languages to reach out the audience. Just one ad, once amount spent, and it goes everywhere and it reaches everyone in India. It's so universal. There's no language in this ad, so you don't have to worry about language. People can say, but it's written in English in the end. But we generally know the Favicol logo, so people could understand the ad is about Favicol. So they don't, even if they can read it, they could understand it's about Favicol. It's high engagement. It's so intriguing that we will finish the ad key. What's happening, in the end? We won't leave it in between. All this made it into a very perfect ATL ad, and that's how, if you do a proper marketing and planning, you understand how to reach your audience, and you're liked for your content also. Today, the content view have changed. We most of us, I think, follow Instagram, and we are so much hooked on Instagram that a lot of influencers we believe, and a lot of ads now come on Instagram. And still on Instagram, there will be a moment when you will like something and you won't like something. So even you don't did a market research, you analyzed your probably your market audience, then you planned your marketing planning, and you said, okay, we'll go for influencer marketing on Instagram again. But the last key would be how would you implement that ad? It's also an important part, which this ad does beautifully. So what we have discussed till now, we have an idea, we did a research, we understood where we want to enter, then we did a business canvas model to discuss how do you want to do this business, how do you want to do everything. Once you all how, why, all these questions are answered, you did a marketing planning, that how would you enter the market, how would you get your customers. Now the big question, a lot of entrepreneurship and a lot of idea fail here. What do you want to achieve in the end? What is the purpose of doing this? क्यों कर रहे हो आप? Why am I slogging 16 hours a day and then having nothing in the end? What is there for you? Can you do this for a year, and then what you want to do? Do you want to do it for 3 years? क्या आप पूरी जिंदगी करना चाहते हो? Do you want to do this thing whole of your life? Do you want to do it in 5 years? Do you want to do this in 3 years, 1 year? And see yourself in 5 years doing the same thing, and see how you feel about yourself. You will give you a lot of clarity on your goals, personal goals and the business goals. On personal goals, you will realize I might not be doing this. In the 5 years, I want to become a monk, and I'll write another book, Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. I would want to do it again. Why will I be selling? Let's take an example. Let's Dream 11. We all play Dream 11, and I think most of you will be on the platform. So let's say today, a founder of Dream 11 is sitting and discussing with you, and you asking, ki, hey, what do you want to do in 20 years? Do you want to still sell the same thing? He might say no in the end. So that means he has a different goals. So when you have personal different goals, you also put them into your startup idea. You want to pivot, you want to change, you want to do modify, or you want to change something in your startup so that it still remain exciting for you. So that's how goals are important. A lot of startup, lot of founders don't understand this, and they start it, and within 6 months either they are bored or their goals are different from what that startup should have, and they fail. So either it should be both your goals and your company or startup goals. They should align somewhere for you to continue. So simple examples of what you want to achieve: funding, customer acquisition, profit, are simple, very simple examples of what you want to do in next 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. Again, all three are right; they are not wrong. But a problem is 80% of Indian startups want to do is they want to achieve funding, and that's their goal. So you start a beautiful idea, but in the end, your goal is shifted from making or spreading this idea into the globe. From there to funding, I need 20 million funding, man. If I don't get funding, तो मेरा idea failure हो गया. अरे बॉस, उसको तो 50 करोड़ मिल गए, मुझे तो 50 लाख भी नहीं मिल रहे. क्या करना है? आइडिया छोड़, पैसे कैसे निकालने हैं वो सोचते हैं. Let's stop thinking about what to do. Let's think about how to make money and how to get this funding. Every startup which I receive, I'm saying every because till now in the last 2 years, this is my experience. When I ask a startup, what do you need? They say funding. That's it. Simple word. They need funding. And I ask them, why do you need funding? 50% of them have no idea why they need funding. Around 60 to 70% don't need funding when they ask me for the funding. They don't need. But why they're asking it? Because come on, yesterday news came. XYZ company became a unicorn. You know how many unicorns are there in India? Unicorns are basically $1 billion valued companies. And I'm not sure whether there are 20 plus unicorn startups in India currently. Out of those, 13 unicorns became or they became unicorn this year in 2021 when pandemic is happening globally and people are saying they're losing jobs. These startups became unicorns. It's a big success, people, for our industry, and we should celebrate it. But what it has done at the same moment is when you saw these 13 ads on newspaper or in magazines that ABC became unicorn, ABC became unicorn, it came into your head so much that you are thinking, I want to become a unicorn. And what is unicorn? I think they got funding, right? That's why the valuation increased. I need funding. It stuck into our head that we need funding. If you were a startup in 2015, 14, 13, 16, you were lucky because at that moment, our startup ecosystem was growing. Investors were adopting to this new kind of culture in India. So they believed and trusted in a lot of startups and they gave money with less diligence. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't question their decision making, but I would say they were more believing in the startup and the founders. They believed more on the words than the action, and they did the funding. It has changed completely today. Funding is very difficult today. If you just come up with an idea and say, I need a funding. But our mentality is not changing. We are still doing the same thing. We come, starter comes to me and tells me, sir, I have this, Chandrabhan, I have this idea, ABC, we want to do this. I'm sure this is the best idea in the world. We have done it. I will do it. I need 1 crore of funding. I said, boss, where is the idea? कहाँ पे है अभी आपका idea? No, I'm just making a business plan right now. I said, okay, bye bye. जब आपका idea market launch होगा, then we'll come. He said, but we need money for market launch. I said, yes, spend your money. But sir, but I can't spend my money, you know. I said, okay, spend your friend's money, take a loan. Ah, no, I can't do that. I said, they won't give it to me. I said, okay, take money from your parents. Well, no. They've already spent money on my education. Now they don't want to spend money. I said, okay, take a loan. Well, loan, I can't take loan. Maybe bank won't give me a loan or it's too much interest. I have to pay the loan. Okay. So you bank, you don't want to take a risk from the bank. Your parents don't want to take risk on you. Your friends don't want to take risk on you. You don't want to take risk on yourself. And you're asking an investor to take a risk on you. Why will a person who doesn't know you will take a risk just on a PPT? Never. So this is where they meet the reality and then they are like, yeah, startup to hai, funding nahi milta, and the investors are like this, they are arrogant, this and that. Why will they arrogant, man? They have the money to put. So you have to understand this, that funding is what you want to achieve or not. If you're going with this, nothing bad, but likelihood that you will fail pretty soon if you are just going for the funding and that's your goal. Customer acquisition should, could be one of your goals. That I want to acquire ABC customers on in a day, and then probably I want to make money out of it. And then finally the profit, which is ultimate goal of any business. If the profit making is not your goal, it's not a business in the end. It could be a startup, but it's not a business, because ultimately you want to make profit. And you want to give the profit to everyone who believed in you initially. So define your goals, what you want to achieve, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, what you as a person want to achieve, what you as your organization or a startup want to achieve, and see yourself, where are you? A lot of startup will fail in this section when their entrepreneur will say, I don't want to do this whole of my life. Ek saal karna, equity funding raise karni, I want to raise funding and then move out of it. So that will give a clarity on where you are in the right direction or wrong direction, or where are you in the whole picture of your startup. What's next? So if I go on the top, we discussed um, so we have discussed market research, we have discussed business model, business planning, long-term goals. Now we will discuss the other things like team building, strategy, resources. I'll put them into one single slide because I didn't want to have a lot of slides, because people might think, oh, 16 slides, it will make PPT. So I just combined them all in together. So what's next? Team, strategy, resources, and also they're kind of linked together. So I put them together. You will always be the one person or the first person to start your startup, but who would be the second person with you? Who would be the third person with you? Who would be the fourth person with you? That defines your core team. So when I say team, it doesn't mean the 50 people working with you. It means the first 5 people, 4 people who will join you, who would believe in you and your idea rather than the money. Remember, a lot of people will come to you once you get funding, and they'll say, hey, I'll do marketing for you, give me a job. But very few people will come to you and say, hey, I like your idea and I want to support you. Salary, let's discuss. You can pay me because you are an idea, you need funding and you don't have funding. Pay me later, give me an equity and take me on board. Very few people will do that. Find these people around you and then see the match with these people's skill and what you need, and that will make your core team when you start an idea. Very simple way, or a lot of people have a common way of doing the or building the team would be starting with your colleagues, friends around themselves. A lot of us start our startup with maybe our family members, maybe our brother joining us or a sister joining us, or maybe a cousin joining us. Bigger section of the society have their friends from the college joining them as a team. Like I co-founded my startup, all of my co-founders were from my college. We all do this, and then few people actually go into the market and find the right mix of people, and they hire them, make them a CTO, COO, CEO, depending on the skill set they bring, and then they start a team. But important thing is to build your team and the first 3 or 4 people. And more important is, who will be your co-founder. All 4 people might not be a co-founder. You might join them as maybe CTO, CEO, CXO, but don't give them a co-founder ownership. You might not give them that ownership. It's very important because, one, talk to an investor and they won't fund you if you don't have a co-founder. Very simple reason: you are not Batman. You are not a Spider-Man or Superman who can do everything. You either you will be good in marketing, either you will be good in strategy, you could be good in product development, or you could be good in finance, or you could be just a person who came with an idea but don't have these expertise. So why will a investor fund you? Because you don't have the skill set to take the business, right? They need someone as a co-founder to complement you, to tell you where you are wrong, and put equal effort as you to take it forward. That's the co-founder. I would say, if you are a founder or an entrepreneur, co-founder is kind of as important as you in your personal life having a girlfriend, boyfriend, or a husband or a wife. They're equally important for you. Think of them as that partner, equal partner in your business. They are most of the time spending time with you, 15 hours spending time with you. So you need to find the right person to be a co-founder, and always take a co-founder who has a skill set which you don't have. If you're thinking of a tech startup and you're not a techie, a tech co-founder would be a big compliment to your startup. Or if you are a techie and if you need a co-founder, then a business side co-founder would be best person for you. probably from strategy side, because marketing and finance, you can find people who will be your CFO or CMO, but someone who will do the strategy, who will lead you from the business, that might be your co-founder. So find this team, give them this title, CEO, CXO. Don't take everything for yourself. Hey, I am Chandrabhan Singh, CEO, COO, CXO, CMO of ABC Startup. It looks funny also, on a business card, putting all these together. So don't be chief of everything in your startup. Define things and find right people. This comes to the next part, which is resources. What resources do you need for a startup? Human resource by default, as a team we discuss, is one thing. Money is another. As I said in discuss in the previous slide, you need to have some amount of money from your pocket so that you can grow initially. No one will put money if you don't put money in yourself. So you need resources, right resources in terms of money. You also might need tech resources. So let's say you're building a tech startup, you need high-end systems, you might need high-end cloud storage, you might need few software to develop, you for testing. Where will you get these resources? You have to find it out. You have to buy, but you can't buy. They're so expensive, and you need them, once in your lifetime. You find, so incubation center is a place probably where you'll find these kind of resources, which I will give you a brief about incubation in the next 10 minutes or so. Then teams, resources, all combined, top and bottom. What comes in between is strategies. You have the best resources, you have the best team. Now you need the best strategies to move ahead. You need strategies in all segments of your startup. Marketing, what would be strategies? Business, what would be the strategies? Growth, what would be the strategies? Product development, what would be the strategies? All your team is ready with you right now. What you need to define is strategies for all these sections and components. If you can do this, you have a very beautiful business plan ready right now with you. Before we end, I would give you a simple example of housing.com. Remember housing.com? I'm sure some of you might be using it to find a flat or an apartment, or or your parents might be using it to probably buy a house. So housing starting in 2012, again when the startup boom came, and when we graduated and we were doing our entrepreneurship, finding our way. And Rahul Yadav was the co-founder, and housing.com became an instant hit in India. Like, it was loved by everyone. Rahul Yadav kind of became a celebrity in India. Everyone knew Rahul Yadav by name. If you're an entrepreneur, hey, Rahul Yadav, I know. Today we know a lot of unicorn startups, as the celebrities, but it all pioneered with Rahul Yadav. Started in 2012, became a celebrity by 2015. Housing was coming everywhere, the valuation going high, and startup was talked about as a big, or maybe one of the initial unicorns which will come out of India. But everything went bad in 2015 when Rahul was ousted from the company. He was thrown out of the company. He was a CEO. He was thrown. Everything was taken from him because all the founders and investors said he's a very bad influence on the company. He's not a good CEO. They failed here. Team. They failed in the team. And because they failed into the team, they failed into the strategies. The startup, which was seen as a boom, was going spiral down. Like, what happened? No one knows, but it started looking like a failure very quickly. Money was coming in, but there was no growth in such. So this became like a big phenomena. Rahul again became famous now for ousting, and I think he started some other startup, but it did not work in such a way. Today, no one knows Rahul. A startup entrepreneur today who's starting something won't know Rahul. He might know Dharmin from Farm Easy, which is a unicorn now right now, but not housing, or Rahul Yadav. Why? Because the team and the strategy did not match, and the startup, instead of going up, went down. It's not even 1% of what it should have been if everything went in the right direction. So why I put it in the end was, even if you have a good research, if you have a good business canvas model, you have a good model, you have a good marketing ideas, you might have a good goals, you might still fail because of strategies and your team. Always another example I would give is shop clues. Just Google shop clues today and see how they are doing it. Another e-commerce startup which was big in 2015 and 16, today it's barely surviving. And again, the problem is with the team and the strategy. You can check what happened with the team there and you will get an answer. Now, we know all what we have done till today. Now, how to put everything into a business plan. So for me, a business plan has 6 sections: executive summary, opportunities, business, finance, team, and contact info. Everything is important in the business plan. Executive summary should be a one-page summary of what you are trying to do. Reason, because if anyone is reading your business plan, they are giving their time, and they should be able to decide that they want to give the time or not. So executive summary will give them a reason to read your business plan or miss your business plan. You might have a good idea, but if you don't write a good executive summary, they will miss it because they don't have time to spend 1 hour if they're not sure what they're reading. So a good executive summary of one page should be a start of a business plan. Then you talk about opportunities. So once a person enters into a business plan, first you should talk about opportunities. This is where you do your market research, and your one section of your business canvas helps you find out the problem you are solving, find out the solutions which are available in the market, like all the solutions which are available for the problem, find out the whole market as such, find out the competition, and from this you will see where do you stand. As a market research, and this will help you understand where do you stand. So this will define the business you're entering. Second section is the business section of your business plan. This includes everything: how you will do the business, how will you operate, how the marketing will done, what will be your milestones, your goals, achievements, strategies. Everything come into this section of your business plan. Define everything here. Put your majority of your business canvas model will come here. Apart from that, you can also do few tools like Porter 5 forces model, or or do this, use different business tool to understand your my idea, use them to understand your business. But this is the crux of your business will come. Then come the finance part. Your opportunity, you have understood your business, what you want to do, how you want to do, milestones, strategies. Next come finance. How will you support your business startup? So finance finance is a big section. It's not funding, by the way. It's about how the money will come and go. It should start with initial investment. You should define how the initial investment will come and how you will spend that investment to start your startup. How your profit and loss statement will be for the next 3 or 5 year. How will your sales will happen? So how will be the pricing point of your product? How will you define the pricing point? How much money do you need to run a startup with that pricing point? Let's say, um, let's take a simple example of Hotstar here. So Hotstar has a 1,000 rupee yearly subscription for you people, right? So why they have 1,000 rupees? Because they have defined how much money they're spending to acquire a customer, how much money they're spending to retain a customer, how much money they're spending to keep a team, and among all these, then what could be the profit margin they want to do. I think so. I've heard it. I think they spend around 700 rupees to acquire a customer, and they're only spending, and they're only paying, and you only pay 1,000 rupees. So that means out of 1,000 rupees which you pay to a star, Hotstar, 700 rupee they've already spent on marketing to get you. So that only 300 rupees is the money that they get into the pocket. So how much of the 300 then goes into the profit and loss statement? How much for the cost, like human cost or the buildings or the office they have? All these costs are defined. This is what defines a finance. A good finance person in your team can help you sort out your finance problems, because they will give a realistic picture how much money you should spend, how much money you should save, how much marketing you should do, because they understand all these numbers and they have analyzed your next 5 year projections. So this is what you should do. P&L statement, sales, how much sales you should do to break even, what should be the cost of a product, how much future projection so that you don't lose money in next 3 5 years and you become a profit making company. All these put together becomes a finance section. A lot of people, what they do is they do finance in Excel and then they just import the data into their business plan because it's otherwise difficult to do it in the MS Word or PDF if you want to do. Then talk about your team. Now, when you talk about team, talk about not just like, hey, I am Chandrabhan Singh, an alumni of IMT Ghaziabad and a graduate of marketing. That doesn't define me as such. That's just a one-liner. What a person need to put here is what are the skill set you bring in your team apart from just I'm from this. So I'm Chandrabhan and I am T Ghaziabad alumni in marketing. My skill sets are maybe digital marketing, research, this and that. This helps me understand what a person can do in a startup, and it will help you always see what are the skill set you don't have in your team and what are the next line of people when you hire, what you need to hire. Very important. And always put it in the end so that a person who liked your idea, went through everything, they will want to know more about the team. If you write it in the first, they might not, they might feel that it's such a big description about themselves and I'm bored. Put it in the end so that if they like the idea, they would really want to know more about you. And once they want to know more about you, your last section should be the contact info where they can reach you, anyone can reach you, and how to reach you should be defined in a very clear way. Just don't write your email. Put today LinkedIn if possible. Put give some if you're writing blogs or if you have something is published by from your end. Put all those information, those links. Hey, I've also write about marketing, and you can read my blogs on this channel. Don't add Facebook, Instagram right now because they are not more into business. They are more personal side, and I don't need that information. But yeah, Instagram and Facebook removed. It could be Twitter if you are very good for if you have good following on Twitter, and good relevant following on Twitter. Definitely LinkedIn, your phone, your email, and if you have some kind of a blog which is relevant, put that. So that's how you make a good business plan. It ends in a way that people who are reading it wants to give you good feedback, wants to reach out to you because it looks like a complete package of what you are doing. So that's it from my end in the business section. I promised you in between that I will also talk about an incubation when we were here, and I said resources. What are the resources you need? So I have a small 5-minute presentation about SPTBI and what we do as an incubation center. So let me change my PPT. Yeah, hi team. So is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, perfect. So a small PPT, we won't take much time. So what is SPTBF? Why I am here today talking to you people? Well, a simple reason that I am working and I'm heading this incubation center called Sardar Patel Technology Business Incubator. It's part of Bhavan's campus where you have SP Jain as a business school, SPIT as an IT college, SPCE as an engineering college, and Bhavan's campus as an arts college. So that's a campus from where we were born. So SPTBI is an incubation center founded in 2015. It was started by SPIT College and with the support of Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Currently, we have around 40 startups incubated with us. Around 38 startups have graduated. So in an all, we have supported around 78 startups till date, and all these startups have created around 750 professional jobs till now. I was there on the opening ceremony, and people, if you remember, Rahul Chari said that he is happy to be here because he's connected with both SPTBI and SPIT because he is a student of SPIT, SPC. That's why. And when Rahul Chari started his entrepreneurship journey, that was a time when SPTBI was born, and he was probably the first startup that came out of the college. And that's how the SPTBI was born. So our foundation happened together. Today, we are one of the leading incubation centers in the region. We support startups in the field of IoT services, IT, AI, ML, AR, VR, etc. Most of our startups are in the field of AR/VR, education, finance, healthcare. So a lot of growth we have seen in the last 5 years. So when we say incubation, so incubation, a lot of people get confused. They always come, as I said initially also, that everyone who comes to me, they tell me, sir, we need funding. And they assume that we have a pile of funding. I don't know how they know, they think that we have money. Who will give us money? That we are just trust, not for profit organization. But they have an assumption that we have some millions and billions of funding with us and we are just there to give it to them. And they come with a very simple example or simple line. Hey, we have this best startup and we need 5 crore funding, 2 crore funding. And I like, if I had 2 crore to funding, I'll fund myself first. So let's talk reality right now. To understand that incubation is a space which helps you grow. Incubation comes from it's a science word, a scientific word, where incubation is technically a space in hospitals where students, where kids who are premature, who are born premature, they need life support to survive. So they are put into this incubation space where they have different kind of equipment, machinery to help them survive for some period of time. When they become normal, then their mother is there to support them later on. So the initial phase where the survival rate is very low and the death rate very high for these premature born babies, that's where the incubation comes. Exactly the same for startup. When a startup is just born, or even before they are born, they're in ideation stage. They need support to survive. Otherwise, they'll die. They'll die in 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. That's where an incubation comes, and that support to the startup to actually grow or survive in that time is what we do. Funding is that comes later on. It's not the first section of the support. You don't need money to survive first. You need resources. You need your idea validation. You need your idea to become a startup first to survive, right? It can't be just an idea and then you become a $1 million company later on. So the idea need to become a company, a startup, then grow. So that's the space where we help. At SPTV, we offer three kind of incubation facility. Pre-incubation is generally for startup who are just into the idea stage. They're not even company. A single person comes and says, "I want to start this, and how can you support?" I say, "Hey, sit down here, and we'll give you mentoring. We'll support you with idea. We'll sit down with you. We'll help you create your pitch deck. We'll give you some sessions of how to, of how to present, what to do, how to do research." This is all a pre-incubation mode when we do. It's generally a 1 year program which we do, and we believe that after this 1 year program, you are basically good to go startup. And when you're good to go, you come into the second stage, which is incubation. So incubation is for startups who already have done their MVP, which is minimum viable product, or at least prototype is done. They have a team, and the idea is now into business. They have a team, and now they want to grow into a full-fledged startup. That's where we do it, and we support them in terms of mentoring, in terms of physical space, in terms of tech infra, in terms of employees, in like interns or all these things, and then funding also to these startups. So this is the space where funding comes now. And third is virtual incubation. So a lot of startups who are not in Mumbai say we want to get incubated, but we are not in Mumbai. So we came up with this new idea called virtual, especially because of pandemic, where you don't need a space to work, you don't need physical infra, you don't need technology infra available in the college, but you need mostly like mentoring. You need probably people to assist you, support you, and that's where we come with the virtual incubation program where you can work from anywhere across the globe. These are few facilities which we have at in incubation. So office space, we provide you office space, where you can work 24/7. Electricity, internet, everything is taken care of. We have a coffee machine, so you can have coffee and tea whenever you want to drink. And so you get a very ambience, in a space to work. Access to tech labs. So we have a few labs at SP IT and SP CE and SP TBI in terms of you need AR VR things. You might need those gadgets for your AR VR. You might need a 3D printer. You can't buy a 3D printer for your startup. So we help you for that. We have a 3D printer which you need. AI ML, you need softwares, and you need technology to support. We have those. You need robotics lab to support you. We have that. You need mechanical lab to support you. We have that. So these are the lab support which we help you out. Access to talent pool. You need interns. Let's say you are not from a tech side, but you need a a person to help you with your website or maybe some data technology. So we provide you with interns from the college who will help you, support you. Remember, a lot of our startups don't have tech team, but they hire interns from the college. Later, they become their CTOs and they become even co-founders of the team because they actually did or created the whole product from the technology, so they know it well than anyone else. Opportunity to pitch before investors and providing seed funding. We do seed funding up to 25 lakhs. We connect you with investors if you need more than 25 lakhs, and they might help you out. All the SPTBA facilities in terms of HR, design, marketing, finance, legal you need, we help you out with those. And mentoring and industry connect. We have technology mentors working with you. We have industry mentors, business mentors working with you. So this is how what we define our whole services in 6 areas: physical infra, mentoring, funding, talent acquisition, tech infra, networking, and training. Physical infra, we have around 15,000 square feet of area, which is divided into 26 cubicles for startups with their own space to work. We have meeting rooms, we have conference rooms, so you just have to book those rooms and use the space. In tech infra, we have AI and AI VR, AR VR, and AI labs, AI ML labs, and robotic labs, machine learning labs, 3D printing, prototyping labs, product development center, IoT and embedded system lab, mechanical lab, microbiology lab. We are also working and developing a digital lab where if you are creating content, you can do it yourself. There will be green screen and audio, video content, and everything could be developed there. So that's again a new lab which we are developing. We provide you credits worth 30,000 from AWS, Comet, MathWork, and Microsoft, which if you are a tech person, you need or you know how important these credits are because they save a lot of money for you. Mentoring, we do business mentoring where every startup innovator will be connected to a business mentor and they will be spending 1 to 2 hours every month on the mentoring. Then there are tech mentors. These will be the expertise from the technology side from the college who will be helping you with the development of the technology. Network and training, around 50 startups at a time will be there in TBI. Currently, 40 because of the COVID. A few startups have moved out, but 50 startup network is all the time present to support you, to connect with you. We connect you with the ecosystem, startup ecosystem like Startup India, competition and funding happening, everything happening across India. We get the information, we share it with you so that you can use those information. We keep on conducting webinars, seminars, training program, workshop free of cost. Inviting experts from the industry, inviting founders from the industry to talk to you, connect with you directly. And funding. So SPTVI has a fund of 10 crore rupee which was given under the program called Nidhi SSS. It's a program of Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Under this program, we fund 20 startups with 25 lakh rupee as a seed fund every, like every year we spend around 2 crore rupees. So you can say around 8 startups on an average are funded by us every year. This funding could be in the form of equity and simple debt. We also work with organizations to seek funding from CSR, and this CSR fund is again then support is given to a startup for the support. So in last year we supported 5 startups through this program and funded them. CCOM was one of the companies who got funded through this program, and then they were bought by Byju's last year. So this was a success story for us, that one of our startup which we funded through CSR and then later bought by Byju's. So the startup is Scholar. So it's one of our startup which is now a brand of Byju's. So currently we have funded around 13 startups in SPTBI from our own pocket, and a lot more startups have been funded through the help of VCs and investors. Talent acquisition. As I said, a lot of startups need founders or interns to support their team, because from the market it will be very expensive for them to get professionals. So So we help you get business talent, tech talent, skill talent in the form of full-time and part-time interns and full-time employees. A very simple example is one of our startup, Work India, um, got funded in 2019 for 30 crore, and they started at SPTBI in 2016. And when the founder came, he was just one person who came to SPTBI. We helped him get a tech, and he didn't have a tech founder also. He was not from tech background. So we helped him get a tech intern from our college, and that intern became a co-founder and CTO within 6 months with the company because of he developed the whole idea. He developed the whole technology, and within 2 years they got funded. They got a funding of 30 crore within 2 years, and now they are a big startup, growing startup, which is supporting a lot more people in terms of jobs creation. So this is what happens with a simple intern joining you initially. This is the possibility if you are working with incubation centers and you need a good talent. Ultimately, up to you how do you use those talent. But if you use them properly, this is what a success could take you. So till now, today we have supported around 110 entrepreneurs in over 78 startups, around 750 jobs created, and every year around 50 to 100 interns from our college work with these startups for 6 months on full-time basis. And we're also supporting 5 startups with people with disabilities, and we hope that they also grow and take the future step. Some of our key success stories: Scholar, recently acquired by Byju's. Work India, it's a leading online job portal. As I discussed, they were founded in 2016. In 2018, they were funded and they moved out of SPTVI when they become big. And currently we have a Liminal Technologies working with us. So they are into AR VR segment. So they are providing AR VR content to Nestle, HCL, Capgemini, as they're one of the clients. And I think they're also now moving into the industry. They are helping movies to create that green screen content at the simultaneously when they are shooting. So currently, what happens is you shoot, you go to the lab, and then you add the green screen behind, and you add the background. But what they are doing it together. So while you are shooting, director can see what will be the background in the green screen. So you don't have to do it in a separate space. You can do it within the shooting space. So they are working into those technology right now. A few more. Rama Life Sciences, Ask Vidyalaya. Ask Vidyalaya is an education portal. Zuva is an EV battery startup. Skinsy is a healthcare startup which detect your skin diseases just by an application. Eatable is a dining startup, and Rama Life Sciences is a woman-led startup. They are producing hygiene products for men and women currently. So these are a few of our startups. And that's it. Thank you. If you want to contact, you can contact me, chandrabhan.singh@spit.ac.in. And if you want to know more about entrepreneurship and want to know more about incubation, you can connect with our incubation manager, Janvi, at communitytvi@spit.ac.in. I'll put this screen for a minute so that if you want to note down the information, you can note it down. And thank you from my side.
Sir?
Yes, is it Ritika?
Sir, what is that? Spinsy is a skincare.
So Skinsy is an application which helps you detect your skin diseases. So it's like an app. You put it on. You take a photo of your skin. Wherever you see some kind of a spot or some kind of uh, deformity, and it connects you with the dermatologist, and it finds what probably could be the cause of this deformity, and then connects you with the dermatologist to take to take a medical advice from them.
Sir, please you with
Hello.
the sir, please you with the screen 10th.
The contact us information.
No, sir, above the contact information slide.
This one.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So means if we download the Skinsy app from the Play Store, the doctors and the dermatologist tell the treatment about our skin.
I think Ritika, what we can do is, if you want to know more about in detail, it will seem like I'm promoting a startup here, so I would avoid it. Just contact us, and we will connect you to the startup directly, or we'll reach out to you accordingly, right? Because I don't want this to become a space where we are promoting any startup, so I won't go more detail into any startups here.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, just reach out to me personally, and we will connect and we'll answer your queries. If you have any queries related to the presentation or the business plan, the topic, I'm happy to answer. Um, but I will just avoid specific answer for any startup incubated currently with us.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Shreya, Raj, and
Yes, sir. We are waiting for the question answers. Participants, if you have any doubts, you can please unmute yourself and ask it.
Sir, can I ask a question?
yes, I think it's Mr. Milan Dande, right?
Yes, I'm signing in from Goa. I wanted to check with you, how does an incubation center look at a distribution or a trading business in terms of, like, I mean, as it will still be generating what you say jobs for people. So let's say if I'm looking personally, I'm looking into, let's say, IoT home automation as one venture. But if instead I'm not starting something from scratch, if I want to go through a known company's distribution, use that as my starting what you say stepping stone, and then I will do some customization and other things, value addition later. But like basically it could be termed as distribution or it could be termed as trading. So how does the incubation center look at that? Like, do you encourage, or are you still able to support, or it is something not advisable?
See, Milan, an incubation center's role is to support all kind of startup, okay, and help you grow. So when we at incubation center, we do. Let's talk about incubation first and SPTVA second. So
Yeah.
when we talk about incubation, so there will be some incubation centers specialized or working in a field where you want to take your startup. Okay, not every incubation is sector agnostic. There are incubation centers specific to some sectors and industries. So you will definitely find someone who would be very keen to incubate you because they might have expertise on that first. So you will find someone there. Second, if there is a sector agnostic incubation center, they will not find a problem taking your, inviting you. Reason being, as an incubation, we have our goals, what we want to achieve. So my goal is to support startup, let's say, right? I'm talking about general incubation, not SPTBI.
Sure.
And if you find a value in your startup, I would love to incubate, and I can see a future that this startup has a potential to grow. I will take you inside my incubation center, and we will incubate you. We will be happy to incubate you. Again, it does not connect with the funding or something that we will be able to fund you, or investor will be able to fund you or not. What I will see is your startup worth incubating in terms of to tomorrow you will be able to create jobs. The idea will grow. It has a potential to grow X times later on. So definitely we'll take you and we'll support you. Now let's come to an SPTBI. Because we are a TBI, that's in a technology business incubator. Our a definition clarifies what kind of startup we can incubate. So if you have a technology startup with you, and deep tech is what is coming in the future, but let's say technology, both technology in terms of non IT and IT, because a lot of time people, when they think of technology, they think about maybe making an app or a software or something, but even a mechanical technology could be a technology if it's using the latest technology from the industry or the field. So if you have that, we will be happy to incubate you. I think you discussed about IoT, bringing IoT on board. So definitely
Yes.
IoT comes as one of the technology which we want to incubate. In fact, we are developing an IoT lab right now so that we can support more IoT startups, and then we can incubate them.
Sure, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate this.
Yeah. So if it, yeah, so it all depends on what incubation center is promoting, you know. So if it's a, let's say if it's a biotech or a incubation center, they won't take you, you know, because they don't have that expertise. They don't want a startup which is not related to biotech or, you know, so anything related to biosciences. So you have to see, you will definitely find a incubation center specific to your need. If not, go for any sector agnostic incubation center.
Sure, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate this.
हेलो
Hello.
हेलो हाँ नमस्ते चंद्रभान सिंह
Yeah, hi, Mr. Ramesh Malik.
हाँ अभी जो ई व्हीकल अपने इंडिया में ज्यादा चल रहे हैं ना तो उसके बारे में मेरे
जी हाँ।
पास एक इनोवेटिव आइडिया है तो वो किसके साथ में कौन सी कंपनी के साथ शेयर कर सकता हूँ ऐसा
Sir, do you want to share with some company or incubation center? I want to, like, you know, ask you again.
नहीं मुझे किसी के साथ भी शेयर करने का है उसको मतलब इम्प्लीमेंट किया है हमने तो वो मतलब काफी ऐसा ये एक्टिव मॉडल है वो पूरा जो सिर्फ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पे डिपेंड नहीं है या चार्जिंग पे नहीं है वो मैकेनिकल पार्ट है ऐसा क्योंकि चार्जिंग खत्म होने के बाद में भी गाड़ी रुकेगा नहीं वो आगे से आगे निकलता जाएगा ऐसा
Yes. So Ramesh, like with our learning from Jiva, which is one of our startup at SPTVI, what we have learned is a lot of these industry, you know, car and bike, automotive, you can say, right? They are slowly having their own research and R&D happening in this space. Apart from that, Ola has done a lot of things in recent time, and they are developing the future technology. You know, they're working on a lot of tech in EV battery and EV side.
Right.
So these are the prospect people you can connect initially, and if you have some connect with those people, it will be easy. Otherwise, there will be a lot of connections back and forth before they'll reply to you. And then there are EV startups. You know, especially I'm not getting a few names right now. What you do is you put your email address or, you know, contact with the team. They'll give it to me. I'll try to send you a few links to check it out after.
Okay.
So these startups have focused mostly on EV batteries, and now they have become big. It's easy to reach out to startups also because, you know, they are not giant players like automotive players currently in India. They are in middle in terms of, you know, in the growth sector, but they are very specific to EV. So automotive companies are not EV; they have a department in the EV, but these are just EV companies. So it's easy to reach out to these people, and the place where they are in technology right now are far ahead of big automotive companies. So these are the two ways to connect. I'll give you a few links later on, and I'll share with you. Connect with them. Startup idea probably.
I will share my email ID and contact number. Okay.
Yeah. So IEEE team share it with me, and then I will probably find out few things. Mr.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hi, Amit.
Hello, sir. Sir, मुझे एक क्वेश्चन था about co-founder.
Okay.
So actually, अगर मुझे कोई मतलब अभी co-founder कैसे for example कोई मतलब friends वगैरह लेता है तो वो मतलब अकेले मिलकर मतलब कोई तो मतलब आइडिया एक्सप्रेस करके वो दोनों एक फाउंडर co-founder ऐसा बनके मतलब करते हैं. अगर मेरे को मतलब ऐसा कोई मिला नहीं मतलब मेरे फ्रेंड में या फिर मेरे मतलब ऐसा कोई मतलब मिला नहीं कि मतलब वो ऐसा अच्छा है हैंडलिंग के लिए या फिर कोई दूसरा काम वो अच्छा करेगा तो ऐसे सिचुएशन में क्या करें सर जैसे आपने बोला कि एक राइट को-फाउंडर चाहिए.
मैं आपका स्टार्टअप आपको आप कितना ग्रोथ देख रहे हो नेक्स्ट 2 इयर्स में? अगर आज 1x है तो व्हाट्स द ग्रोथ यू आर सीइंग इन 2 इयर्स?
सर अगर सक्सेसफुल हुआ तो सक्सेसफुल होगा ही बिकॉज आइडिया ही वैसा है देन आई थिंक सो इट विल बी अराउंड 10x बिकॉज उतना कॉन्फिडेंस है सर.
नहीं कॉन्फिडेंस भी है पर होना भी चाहिए. सो इफ अ स्टार्टअप
होगा ही
10 20 30x राइट. So there's a difference between a startup and a business. Business grows 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, right? A linear growth. Startup has an exponential growth. So अभी हमें simple देखो, you take yourself in two conditions. Once you are doing a business, you are startup. So when you're doing a business, let's say you start by yourself, no co-founder, but you have a team. ठीक है, आपके admin team है और
Yes,
कुछ
yes.
लोग आपके साथ कर रहे हैं.
हाँ,
So when it
marketing team and all.
so when you become 1x 2x, you can manage because आपने 1x किया तो 2x भी कर सकते हो, right?
Yes, yes.
You might not need a co-founder there because it's a business. You have a team to
Yes.
manage. आप उनको 1x में 2x होगा तो you will get एक की जगह 2 आदमी ले लोगे वहाँ पे and then business will grow. When it
Yes,
becomes 3x, you will take 3 people and business will grow. And you will take this 1 year to grow, so आपके पास time है. Now take the example, second example, when you are growing to 1x, 10x. Simple, can you in a within a year develop your own skills कि आप 10x business grow को आप संभाल पाओगे?
और इसके लिए team तो लगेगा.
Yeah. Now let's say you say कि sir, but sir, what I'll do is I'll take 10 people instead of 1 people, which is currently working with me for 10x grow. Problem is, will you be able to handle 10 people all together and 10 business within a year? आप नहीं कर पाओगे. You need a
Yes,
co-founder
नहीं करता हूँ.
to share your responsibility. See, the difference between a team and co-founder is your team is responsible, but your team is answerable, but might not be responsible to the startup. You are paying them salary, they are doing that work. That's it. You know, you can't commit them कि वो strategy बनाएंगे आपके लिए. वो लीड करेंगे आपके लिए, वो 12 घंटे 16 घंटे काम करेंगे भी आपके लिए, वो आप एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर सकते उनके साथ में. बट co-founder will do the same thing and you expect that from the co-founder. So that's where you will need that person who will be responsible with you, as responsible as you are. Now the question comes, you say कि कौन होगा, वो आपको नहीं मिल रहा है, आपको ढूंढना पड़ेगा. हमें आपको अगर अपने अपने कलीग्स में नहीं मिल रहा है, आपके कॉलेज से नहीं मिल रहा है, तो आपको इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर्स में जाओ, join this startup network and find right people, go into the market and find right person. If you are working with a mentor, ask your mentor to help you find a person because mentors are connected in the ecosystem, so they know people. And a very good way to find a co-founder is find a person who had a startup but it failed and now he's looking for a new opportunity.
Okay.
Right? It could be to think, you know, someone who has failed, उसको मुझे ढूंढना है, but that would be the best person. That person has every skill set which you need. In startup world, failure is not a bad thing, you know. It's always celebrated because the person who failed knows 10 reasons how.
Okay.
So if not, then go for find someone who will work similar to what you are doing, but not able to take it forward, and you do it together then.
Okay.
But आपको otherwise 1x 2x होगा आपका growth. You know, you can't go to the 10x. एक बार 10x चला जाएगा, but next 20 नहीं जाएगा.
Okay.
So we also have one question in our chat box from Sunny Patel. So the question is, could you suggest some incubation center for chemical technology, or would SPTBI would also provide with labs and formulas for the same?
So my answer to Sunil will be send your resume, or not resume, send your idea and everything to us. We will review. If we'll see we can support you, we'll let you know. If we can't, then we'll give you suggestion to incubation centers they can try and opt.
Any more questions from anyone?
Yeah, Gaurav, we have a lot of incubation centers in Pune. In fact, there are equal number of centers in Pune. Sunil, okay, I'll give you one name. So Venture Center in Pune is one of the biggest incubation centers in India. And I think Sunil Patil, you can try there. So they might help you with chemical technology and So
sir, could you spell it?
Venture Center.
Oh, Venture. Okay.
Yeah. So it is one of the biggest incubation centers in India. Just put incubation centers in Pune and the first name will be Venture Center. And for Gaurav, so Venture Center is one. Venture Catalyst also runs an incubation center, I think, in Pune. So they are mostly a investor company. They invest, but they also support in incubation. MIT College has an incubation center. College of Engineering, Pune, they have a incubation center. So 4 I have named. There is, I think, TCS, yeah, TCS or HCL or TCS. They don't have an incubation center, but they have come up with a new program where they promote entrepreneurship. So they also incubate interesting startups within their office. So they have a separate space for startups. So they support startups in few technologies. So you can reach out to them also, and they are heavily focusing on creating this into an incubation space later on. And because there's a big brand associated, a lot of leverages you get if you associate with them also, if they take you on board. So these are few answers, a few names I can remember for Pune as of now. But yeah, try Venture Center, they are the biggest. Yeah, any further questions?
Okay, so Akanksha, could you please present a screen, the Momento part? Akanksha, make it full. And Shreya, you can continue. Yes.
Thank you, sir. It was very educating and enthusiastic session. We really enjoyed it. I, on behalf of IEEE Bombay section and the entire organizing team, present this heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Chandrabhan Singh for his valuable time and presence during IEEE Entrepreneurship Bootcamp. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening the event with your presence.
Thank you, Shreya. Thank you, the whole team of IEEE for this beautiful initiative. I really hope all the participants who are joining us in the last 4 or 5 days, and I think it's accumulating. It's tomorrow the last day, right?
Yes,
And by the end of tomorrow, I'm sure that a lot of startups might already be there from the audience. And even if just one ending note, don't think that you need to start a startup to be an entrepreneur. Today, entrepreneur is a combination of skill set which is required in all kind of jobs anywhere you go. So have those skill set with you, even if you don't want to start a startup. It will help you a lot in future. With that, best of luck to all the participants, and I really hope some of you will make it to start your own startups, and maybe few of you will be joining us at SPTBI and taking our support, and we'll do the journey together in the next 2-3 years. So thank you and good luck. Bye bye.
Thank you so much, sir.